So guys, this is a story that I previously reported on and there's been an update because a teenager who shot dead a gang rival during a noon gun battle on a city street has been jailed for life. Teeko Lee, who's 18 years old, killed unarmed Naasir Francis, also known as Crill, by blasting him with a handgun at almost point-blank range after a confrontation in Lozells in Birmingham. The teenager from Surrey was found guilty of murder, attempted murder, and possessing a firearm with intent following a trial at Birmingham Crown Court. I'll put a link to that video in the description below. He was sentenced today to a life sentence and must serve a minimum of 20 years before being considered for release. Darnell Donovan-Harris, who's 23 of Handsworth, was jailed for 18 years after being convicted of manslaughter and possessing a prohibited firearm. The court had heard the shooting was the culmination of a long-running feud between Mr. Francis and Donovan-Harris. The murder had followed a chance meeting between two rival gangs on August 20th in Lozells Road in Lozells in Birmingham. The jury were told Lee, armed with a loaded handgun, and Donovan-Harris were on one side and Lawrence Morgan and Mr. Francis on the other. Mr. Morgan, who was acquitted of all charges against him, and Mr. Francis was said to have initially fled the scene but later returned. When the gun was fired, Mr. Francis tried to escape in a Lexus which was parked nearby. Donovan-Harris opened the driver's door, allowing Lee a clear line of fire, and he shot the victim at very close range. In a statement, Naasir's mother, Fazana Hussain, said, "Our guardian angel has been ripped away from us. We will not be able to spend another birthday with him and not be able to hear his voice other than from a video. We miss him more than words can explain." In passing sentence, Mr. Justice Saini said Mr. Francis was a young man from a caring and loving family in the prime of his life. They have lost a man who had become the guardian angel of his loving family. He said the two groups had come together by accident and that there may have been some form of gang-related dispute between them. There was a spontaneous outburst of violence between the two groups. There can be no other explanation for this other than a previous dispute, the judge said. The murder of Mr. Francis and the attempted murder of Mr. Morgan was actually captured on clear CCTV footage. So in this footage, it shows Mr. Francis being shot at point-blank range by Teeko Lee, whilst Mr. Francis was sitting defenseless in the Lexus car, and he was actually trying to leave the scene. And the judge said this was an execution. He said Lee fired many rounds wildly in the direction of Mr. Francis and Mr. Morgan, as well as into the car, and shot further multiple rounds at Mr. Morgan. It was only by luck that no innocent members of the public in this busy area of Birmingham at lunchtime that day were also not shot. The judge said that Lee had also been found to have had two large knives at his home in December 2018, and during the trial on two occasions he had brought to court, hidden in his clothing, manufactured weapons which were sharpened toothbrushes. What's all that about? The judge said, "I have read the pre-sentence report which makes it clear that you showed no remorse and continue to deny the offence." The judge said that Donovan-Harris had given the gun to Lee and had opened the car door so he could get a better shot. David Nathan, the QC for Donovan-Harris, said that he has shown genuine remorse and added he sought to discourage Lee from using the gun. When Lee started to fire indiscriminately towards the car, my client was in the line of fire. He was also lucky not to have been hit. Absolute madness, guys. What do you think to that, guys? A life sentence for a teenager who killed a gang rival in a Lozells shootout. Let me know what you think. It's your boy GT. Keep it locked, keep it real.